welcome to CUTV News. I'm Suri.
I'm Helena.
So, this is a show made by and for students, delivering the latest news about Cardiff University and also international news. And we'll be live on YouTube every Wednesday at 6. If you want to get involved, then please come along to the student media meetings on Mondays at 5. And today, first, we will be talking to Richard Baxter from St. John, Wales, about a new charity app. Then we will be discussing the Nobel Peace Prize that was awarded last Friday. And after that, we'll take a look at Mind Your Head Week, and finally, we'll discuss the Iris Prize Festival. If you have anything to say about the show or about any of the segments, then tweet at Cardiff Union TV with the hashtag CUTV News.
So today with us we have Richard Baxter. Hello.
Hello.
So you come from St. John, Wales.
Indeed I do.
And you're here to tell us about the first aid charity app
Indeed.
that can save lives.
Indeed, it can save lives, and it has already saved a life.
Really?
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
Well, St. John Wales launched our charity app back in August this year at the Royal Welsh Show in mid Wales. We launched the app because every youngster now has got a phone that can take an app. Many middle-aged people and older people have got an app phone that can take these apps now. And as a charity, we wanted to use this technology to make more people aware what first aid is about, how first aid can work, and how you can save a life.
Okay, so let's start first. What exactly is St. John Wales? I mean, why is St. John Wales doing these apps? What does it exactly do?
Well, St. John Wales is the leading first aid charity here in Wales. It's been going for over 900 years worldwide, but over 90 years in Wales, with over 4,000 volunteers right across Wales providing first aid at major events such as the Millennium Stadium, the Royal Welsh Show, and even to small village fetes with our dedicated volunteers providing first aid cover to the people of Wales.
That sounds great. So on August you launched the app. And is there any motive, any inspiration behind that idea? Or was just like take advantage of new technology?
It was kind of probably a bit of both. It was, but we went into partnership with British Telecom BT. They helped us launch this app at the Royal Welsh Showground, and we launched it because of technology. Technology is growing day in, day out, and first aid, we need to keep up with the pace of technology. And we launched this app because most people have a mobile phone, and you never know when an emergency will happen. So, and if an emergency does happen, people can download this app for the knowledge on what to do in different scenarios, whether it be choking, whether it be a heart attack, whether it be bleeding. People can click on the app, and then they can see what the app does, what the app tells them to do in that sort of an emergency, and then they can deal with it there by step-by-step instructions.
Okay, so the app can actually help prevent situations to get worse.
It definitely can.
How exactly does it do? Can you give us an example of if something happens, what will the app exactly do?
Well, I can give you a life-saving story.
Tell us about it.
Roger from Carmarthenshire in West Wales was at the Royal Welsh Showground with his wife Sian, and Sian was a first aid trainer for St. John as a volunteer. And Roger downloaded the app because of the advice of Sian, and then they downloaded it. And 2 weeks later, Roger was working away in Bristol and was feeling a bit unwell on the train going up to Bristol. And he just thought that was maybe because he hadn't had much to eat that day. Checked into his hotel and started suffering chest pains. Roger quickly remembered then that he had this app on his phone, so he clicked on the app and it was able to tell him what he was suffering, and then he thought, all the signs and symptoms were leading to the signs and symptoms of a heart attack.
That's great. So actually it informs people and makes them more aware of the options.
It guides you. So Roger was able then to go to the local hospital in Bristol, and where he was diagnosed and he was having chest pains.
Okay, that's great. So so that's one of the things that St. John Wales has done. that was last August. A few months after that, you already have feedback.
This August that launched, and it's already saved a life.
Yeah.
First aid, the same amount of people die each year. 140,000 people each year die with a lack of first aid training. That's the same number of people that die in the UK from cancer.
So you say it's easy to prevent that kind of situations?
It is easy to prevent with just a little help, either from first aid training or this app. If everyone had it on their phone, it'd be more prevented. You know what to do if an emergency happened there and then, because you'd be able to click on the app, and you'd know the knowledge, you'd have everything there, and it would tell you step by step what to do.
Yes.
You don't have to be a first aid trainer. We encourage everyone to go on a first aid course, because you never know what
that's
situation.
One more tool to have.
Pardon?
One more tool to have. The
one
app.
more tool to have to prevent that life-saving incident.
Yeah. Okay, so talking about that app, where can people download it from?
Well, just type in, if you've got an Android phone, if you've got an iPhone, just type into your app finder St John Wales, and it will come up. The first aid app will come up, and then download it, and it will tell you step-by-step instructions with different scenarios, so whether it be choking, bleeding, chest pains, many more situations, and then it'll be step-by-step instructions on what to do and how to prevent that situation from getting worse, and what advice, if you're suffering those conditions, what advice then to do.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. Thank you.
Hello. So last week on Friday, the Norwegian Nobel Prize panel decided on who was, deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize. Everyone's favorite contender was Malala Yousafzai, but it made an unexpected choice and gave it to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, as they work to eliminate the use of chemical weapons worldwide. Right now, they're working on suppressing the use of chemical weapons in Syria. So we talked to Dr. John Jewell, the Director of Journalism, Media and Cultural Studies here at Cardiff University, as he's an expert on the Syria issue. Here is the video of the interview.
From CUTV, and we're interviewing John Jewell from JOMAC about the Nobel Peace Prize and its new recipient, OPCW. And John, we all know like the frontrunner for the Nobel Peace Prize was Malala, the Pakistani girl, like, and fighting for her education rights.
Yeah.
We're surprised that like OPCW actually like finally got the award.
No, not at all, really, for a number of reasons. Partly because the Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded in the past few years to recipients who are considered to be controversial. For example, Barack Obama in 2009, and last year I believe the European Union won the award. So the Nobel Peace Prize Committee has never been afraid of giving the award to cause non-celebrities, if you like, people who weren't at the moment in the public eye. I mean, obviously Malala, she at the moment is attracting worldwide attention for her quest to achieve democracy in Pakistan, and also through the terrible things she went through. But the OPCW, I would guess, was awarded the award particularly because of what it's doing at the moment in Syria. So you could say it was a political gesture. But on the other hand, I see no problem with it getting the award either, because it's been doing significantly important work over the last 16 years, and I wouldn't in any way say that their work is ill-conceived or useless. It's a very good organisation.
What kind of danger and difficulty do you think they face in Syria?
Well, a great deal. Their lives are under threat. They've been shot at from the moment they've tried to get to the bottom of this particular mystery, because as we know, the attacks that took place in August, it's unclear who was responsible for these attacks, whether it was al-Assad, the president of Syria, or indeed the rebel forces. So they've gone into a situation where they are particularly unwelcome, really, from both sides, even though both sides make the noises that they are welcome. And we can see that from their first couple of days when they were shot at. So they're doing a difficult job in extremely exceptional circumstances. So I think the award of this prize draws attention to the importance of their work and the difficulties under which they operate.
Right, thank you. And also, we all know the attack was in August, and there is also like over 1,300 death toll in total. And even though the government have like announced that they didn't really use chemical weapon, would you think their stance like towards the their work and their presence in Syria?
Well, I mean, what we've got here is it's a cliche, but the fog of war. We've got information coming from both sides here. Both the sides deny using chemical weapons. Evidence produced by different sources representing both sides suggests that both sides may have indeed used chemical weapons. But I think as we were proceeding towards conflict about a month ago, Al-Assad had to really allow the weapons inspectors in, otherwise face the consequences of the US particularly. You know, you could argue all day really about whether Assad's forces were responsible for the attacks. I think they probably were, but some of the evidence suggests that they weren't. I mean, on balance, I would say that we don't know at the moment.
Okay, how were the civilians affected? Was it mostly the troops that's...
No, it was all civilians.
Okay.
But this is a war that affects civilians. I mean, civilians are affected by wars these days anyway. I mean, I suppose the key thing to come out of this whole bloody conflict in Syria is how difficult it is for us in the West to get an angle on it, because there's no clear defined idea of who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. And as I say on my modules, what we need as human beings really is to have things placed in narratives we can understand. Now in this situation, what is absolutely clear is the total decimation of the population of Syria, with over 2 million refugees going over the border into neighbouring countries. So that's the true tragedy of it, but it was certainly civilians who are soldiers, civilians in a sense. Why should we differentiate? But the key point is civilians have been the ones who've been hit the most by this terrible civil war.
Okay, also I think they had announced that they have plans to eliminate all chemical weapons in Syria by the middle of next year. Do you think this is possible? And
you need to have the will to do it. I mean, it's difficult. Who said that? Al-Assad, was it?
I think it was OPCW. Yeah.
Right, well, you know, obviously they would want that to happen in an ideal world, and in order for that to happen, they would have to have complete cooperation from the Syrian government forces. Whether or not that will happen is open to speculation, because in order for it to occur, it has to have the will of the sovereign power to do that. I mean, the OPCW can't do that unless it has the cooperation of the government. But of course, as an objective, it's entirely admirable.
Last week as well, we had the Mind Your Head Week here in Cardiff. It was meant to raise awareness about mental health issues such as homesickness. That was the main topic this year, mainly because we have a lot of international students here in Cardiff, and not only, and moving from home to a new city, a new place to live, can be not traumatic, but still raise some problems. So we had that week with a lot of stalls, students volunteering, professionals as well, raise awareness, help students, and try to talk more about a problem that is very common, but people don't really talk that much about it. Suri, you are an international student as well.
Yeah.
So do you feel part of that group of homesickness?
Yeah, obviously. I didn't think I'll be very homesick because I used to study in a boarding school. But then, after coming here, it was the whole culture shock because, from India to the UK, I didn't think it would be that different, but it was. And the first 2 weeks, they were just awful, really.
Really?
I went into, a taxi driver.
Yeah.
I was that, it was really bad. I knew no one because I came here alone. It was my first time traveling abroad all alone. And I knew no one, had no friends, no relatives, nothing.
So what did you do to, try to overcome the homesickness?
There was, okay, I don't want to be an example because, I just stayed in my room and watched series, and basically the best thing you can do is meet people and try to make friends and stuff.
So would you say if in your first year you had the Mind Your Head Week, and if you get to talk to people, do you think that would change something?
Yeah, I think so, because I would know other people who were also homesick, and I think that would help a lot.
That would help.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stalls, a lot of people involved, and at the end, to make those people have some fun. All the students gather together, have some fun. The student counseling service organized a concert night at CF10, and CUTV News couldn't miss it, so have a look at the video.
Hello, I'm Bethan reporting for CUTV News. We're here at the concert organised by Mind Your Head Week and the Student Counselling Services. Let's take a look at the bands inside. Could you introduce yourselves, please?
I'm Mike, I sing in Colours of One.
I'm Miff, I play the guitar for Colours of One.
I'm Lewis, I play bass for Colours of One.
Okay, so tonight was just you two playing. Was there a reason for that, may I ask?
Our drummer's out of action. He's done his back in, so yeah, he couldn't do it, so we couldn't do it the full band, so we decided that we'd still like to be part of it. And so me and Miff spent about 2 hours trying to put together a set, and that's what it was tonight.
And it was a very good acoustic set. I was very impressed.
Thank you very much.
It was very good. So the cause obviously tonight is mental health and depression and homesickness. Why do you think that's so important, and why did you want to play a gig like that this evening?
Well, because, well, not surprising if 1 in 4 people suffer with mental health issues. That we know people that have suffered with mental health issues, and there's so many misconceptions about mental health and what it actually is to be depressed, and things like that. And so any event that discusses that or prompts discussion about that, I want to be part of.
Hi, I'm Laura King. I'm a psychology student in my 3rd year, currently on placement with the Cardiff Uni Counselling Service.
Okay. So why put on an event like this tonight? What's it in aid for, and why do you think it's so important?
It's Mind Your Head Week this week, so we've been raising awareness for mental health all week. The problem with mental health is that nobody ever talks about it, and there's a lot of stigma surrounding it. So we wanted to do something to make people talk about it, and we thought a gig would be something that lots of people would come to, so we could raise a lot of awareness on one night.
What other things have you been doing this week to raise awareness for mental health?
Every week in the SC foyer we've had a stall for each of the student-led services, so Nightline, Student Minds, LGBT, Mental Wealth. And we've been putting on talks in the evenings. There was an autism talk and things like that.
Okay. So it's the last day today, if you like. So how do you think it's gone? Do you think it's been a success?
Yeah, really good, I think. Last year I don't think it had such a buzz around it, but we've used Twitter a lot more this year with the hashtag Mind Your Head Week, so I think that's gone really well.
I mean, it's been all around the Students' Union, definitely, hasn't it? So, and there's a fair few people here tonight. Are you pleased with the turnout?
Yeah, definitely pleased with the turnout. Yeah, Helen's done loads, the welfare officer and the SU, to publicise it, so that's really good.
Okay, thank you for talking to us.
Hello. This week we also had Iris Prize Festival, which is a film festival consisting of short films, which are mostly relating to lesbian and gay love stories. And Cardiff University was one of the sponsors, and our Deputy Vice Chancellor Elizabeth Treasure was there on the opening night, and she addressed the crowd. And we were also there on the opening night, as you see in the video. And we also talked to the director of Burger, which was one of the short film screens that night. Here is the video.
This is Trisha Chaudhary for Cardiff University Student Television.
I woke up today, looked at your picture just to get me started. I called you up, but you weren't there when I was broken hearted.
With me, I have Magnus Mogg, the director of Burger. So, hi Magnus, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thanks. So, I wanted to ask you about your new film, Burger. So, can you tell me more about it?
Yes, I'm Norwegian from Norway. And I won this fantastic prize, which was to make a new short here in Cardiff or in Wales. And I wanted to make a film with more people So I collected like a bunch of 14 characters in a burger bar, and they all drunk.
Are you drunk? I think you're drunk.
And I think it's in a way that I think we all can relate, whether Norwegian, British or French or wherever, we can relate to this kind of being young and drunk late at night, craving for food and maybe more love or something.
I live in London, and people who live in metropolitan cities like London and Cardiff often think homophobia isn't a problem. Oh yes, it is. I see that in letters I get in my work as a journalist, and many of the films that have been in the Irish Festival over the last 7 years tackle that very, very important subject.
Thank you so much for that lovely welcome. I just always think it's very dangerous asking a professor to speak at an event like this, because you all know that we only speak in units of 60 minutes. So it's really important to the university to sponsor events like this. First of all, as a university, we're committed to diversity. We're pleased with our position in the Stonewall Workplace Index, but not complacent. There's a lot still to do. We are very pleased at being one of only 2 universities in the country to have 10 out of 10 for gay by degrees, but again, we're not complacent and there's more work to do. And the other reason, of course, is to be involved with something creative.
You are a jury member of the Irish Prize Festival.
I am, yes, and I'm very, very excited to be part of this jury this year.
What criteria do you think, as a jury member, would you, have in mind to actually judge films?
I think for me a storyline is really important. If you've got a good script, you can sell anything to anyone. I think, for a short film, I think if somebody can tell me a story within 10 or 15 minutes, then I think they're absolutely onto something, and I think they're going to do absolutely fabulous.
Oh, that was a great night, wasn't it, Suri?
Yeah, it really was.
It looked very friendly as well.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, very friendly atmosphere. Well, let me ask you something. Since I wasn't there, what was that cupcake dress?
Yeah, the guy, the drag queen, I'm assuming, he wore the cupcake dress as because it was a reference to the movie that was filmed that night.
Okay.
It was a short film called Cupcakes, and also the crew.
Hungry now.
And and like they had to have cupcakes like at the end, the audience, and and our crew also took pictures with him. So yeah.
Well, so were those real cupcakes on the dress, or?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, still with the Irish Prize, last Sunday was the award ceremony, and the prize is £25,000, and you get to make your own film in Wales. In 2010, the winner made his film in a burger shop in Salisbury Road, which is like the heart of the students' area in Cardiff. And CUTV was again at the ceremony, and we got to speak with one of the winners. This time was the UK Best Shot. Have a look.
Hi guys, Trisha here from CUTV, and I'm at the Irish Prize Festival, and with me here is Sridhar, who's on the jury for the Irish Prize Festival. We know that the issues in India are not much spoken about, and the Queer Film Festival that you're doing, you are one of the trustees as well. I wanted to talk to you more about your work in India.
Right. See, I'll tell you what, when I started kind of working and being out as a gay man around 25 years ago approximately, which is like way long back, everything was very underground, not visible, spoken in whispers. There was a lot of violence in terms of either blackmail or violence by the police. Over the years, that has changed because of I think the work done across the country by various activists and groups and advocates and everybody. In 2009, the law which criminalized homosexuality was read down. So that kind of made a lot of people more comfortable saying that, okay, I'm not a criminal anymore, but it didn't bring across social acceptance immediately. That takes a long way. And also we see the change much more in the cities, like the 4 main cities. But if you kind of travel a little away, you actually we still pretty much see that the community is very underground.
So tell me more about, about the festival. How was your experience till now?
It's been really nice. I saw quite some different things. So, like, besides the films, we had the Welsh government talking about like funding, how basically filmmakers can like get help with funding and crowdfunding as well, how it can work. So it's quite interesting to see like how they push the creative industries.
Okay. Why do you think the Irish Pies Festival is so important?
Yeah, it's recognised in a lot of places. It's a huge festival. People fly in from, we've got Australia, New York, Chicago. It's huge, and people don't always do that for a festival. And it's great that Cardiff has something like this.
This year, Irish set up their very own youth jury. This is the first time this has happened. And a group of 7 young people from secondary schools from the area spent the better part of yesterday watching and discussing 5 films about young people. And with the support from role models and the British Council, filmmakers and actors having sessions with them, they decided on a winning film.
The Irish Prize Youth Award goes to Straight With You.
Don't you just love the fact that we've spent hours in a room debating, and then I get given an envelope with gold stars on it as though I don't know what's inside. Great. Okay, so here's a surprise then. Okay, folks. So the best UK short, Horror Shock, is My Mother, Jay Becker.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. It's a really amazing end to a really perfect few days.
Tell me more about your film, My Mother.
Yeah, I shot my film last year in California. It's a short documentary about a Mexican man called Gustavo who spends his weekends living as a woman in San Francisco. I wanted to find out what compelled him to do that, and it's a lot to do with his relationships with his family, particularly his mother.
The Irish Prize 2013 is won by Tim Marshall for Gorilla.
That was all for tonight. Thank you for watching, and don't forget, follow us on Twitter at Cardiff Union TV, #CUTV News. And if you want to get involved, if you want to cover an event, cover any news stories, then just go on Facebook at Cardiff Union TV or email us at news@cardiffunion.tv.